All right, we'll check it out.
In 1977, a crowd of 75,000 fans gathered in New York to watch soccer legend Pelé play his final professional game. In 22 years, he had played in 88 countries, met 2 popes, 5 emperors, 10 kings, and beaten thousands of defenders.
What I did with my life, put my heart in my work.
Tell her he's working late again, but she knows too well there's something going on. Lord, it hurts her doing this again. He's the best friend that her husband ever knew. When she's lonely, more than just a friend. He's the one she longs to give her body to. Daytime friends and nighttime lovers, they don't want to hurt the other, so they love in the nighttime and shake hands in the light of day.
From this city,
inside this arena,
it's country music's biggest night.
The CMA Awards, live tonight.
Leave me, Lucy, 400 children and a crop in the field. I've had some bad times.
Born Harry Lillis Crosby on May 3rd, 1903, in Tacoma, Washington. Growing up, he was called Bing, after a favorite comic strip, and the nickname stuck. In 1931, Bing first appeared on the radio as a solo act and became an overnight sensation.
Bing Crosby pioneered the idea of pre-taping a show. He was one of the first performers in America to pre-tape his shows, and that allowed him to have shows that were filled with only the best bits from his live performances.
Bing Crosby's movie career starts really in earnest in 1932. He makes some musical comedies. Then in 1934, he makes Here's My Heart with Kitty Carlisle. In 1936, with Ethel Merman, he's in Anything Goes. And by then, it was very clear that Bing Crosby was about to be one of the biggest music and movie stars of the 20th century.
1942, Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire co-star in this film called Holiday Inn. That movie launched the biggest song of Bing Crosby's career, White Christmas.
That song, by the way, is one of the greatest all-time hits of all time.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Bing Crosby's film career reached its peak when he partnered with Bob Hope in The Road Pictures. Started in 1940 with The Road to Singapore. Eventually they made 7 more with co-star Dorothy Lamour.
Bing Crosby was a great actor, but he only won one Oscar, and that was for 1944's Going My Way as Father O'Malley, a character that was so beloved and so popular, it immediately spawned a sequel, The Bells of St. Mary's.
Bing Crosby's musical White Christmas was the top-grossing movie of 1954 and reintroduced the public to its title song White Christmas. In 1957, Bing married a second time to actress Katharine Grant and had 3 children together.
He died on the golf course outside of Madrid, and his last words were, and it would be fitting, if true, to the effect of, well, that was a great round of golf, fellas.
Over the course of his 51-year career, Bing Crosby made 1,600 records, sang on 4,000 radio shows, and appeared in more than 100 movies and 300 TV programs. Bing Crosby died on October 14, 1977.
All they need. Fly ball, anything. That's all they need. That's do it. That's going to do it. Torres gets it. The Yankees win their 21st World Series.
A sensitive man named Reggie Jackson, who burst forth with 3 home runs and became the most valuable player in the World Series.
The crowd pouring out. No way in the world to stop it. October 18, 1977, the New York Yankees defeat the Los Angeles Dodgers 8-4.
Lynyrd Skynyrd was an American rock band that gained worldwide success with songs such as Sweet Home Alabama and Freebird. On October 20th, 1977, the band boarded an airplane that was scheduled to fly them from Greenville, South Carolina to Baton Rouge, Louisiana for a concert taking place the following night. Towards the end of their flight, the pilots realized they were running low on fuel and requested permission to land at Macomb-Pike County Airport. However, the aircraft ran out of gas before it could reach the runway and began to fall 6,000 feet out of the sky. The pilots attempted an emergency landing in a heavily forested area 5 miles northeast of Gillsburg, Mississippi, but the plane's landing gear caught the top of some pine trees, which caused the aircraft to go into a nosedive towards the ground. Singer Ronnie Van Zant, guitarist Steve Gaines, backup vocalist Cassie Gaines, assistant road manager Dean Kilpatrick, pilot Walter McCreary, and co-pilot William Gray were killed on impact. The other 20 passengers on board were all injured. The crash had taken place at night, and there was no fire due to very little fuel remaining in the plane, which made it difficult to see the accident. After the crash, the remaining members of Lynyrd Skynyrd disbanded and went their own ways. Lynyrd Skynyrd remains an icon of Southern rock and a legend in music history.
Heaven's just a sin away, oh, oh, just a sin away. Heaven help me when I say I think I'm giving in. Heaven's just a sin away, oh, oh, just a sin away. Can't wait another day, I think I'm giving in. How I'd love to hold you tight, oh, oh, be with you tonight. But that still won't make it right, 'cause I belong to him.
The last naturally occurring case of smallpox was diagnosed on 26th of October 1977. Smallpox is an ancient deadly disease that has existed for 3,000 years. An estimated 300 million people died from smallpox in the 20th century alone. The virus spreads through person-to-person contact and saliva droplets in an infected person's breath. Early symptoms include high fever and fatigue. This takes between 7 and 17 days after exposure. At this point, the disease becomes contagious. The virus then produces a distinctive rash, particularly on the face, arms and legs. The most infectious period is during the first week of illness. The resulting spots become filled with clear fluid and later pus, and then form a crust which eventually dries up and falls off. The person remains contagious right up until the last scab is removed. Some governments believe there is a risk that the virus which causes smallpox still exists in places other than laboratories and could be deliberately released to cause harm.
All my bags are packed and ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door.